All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Chris Stump. I'm the Vice President of Student Affairs at the University of Pittsburgh at Johnstown, and I would like to welcome you to our very first all-campus welcome to the University of Pittsburgh at Johnstown. Typically, one of the final sessions of our new student orientation is our freshman convocation, where we gather all the freshmen and have a very nice academic ceremony, welcoming them into the folds of the University of Pittsburgh at Johnstown. But under our current circumstances, we can't do that this year. So we came up with this idea, and we're involving the entire campus population, also friends, parents, faculty, staff, students, everybody who might be interested in attending this campus welcome is able to. So we're pretty excited about that. We have had a very good new student orientation, socially distant, mostly remote, mostly virtual, but it's gone very well. We think our new students, we have a great freshman class coming in this year. So we're very excited to welcome them to Pitt Johnstown in the strangest of circumstances. What many of us don't remember is that this senior class, this freshman class this year, were seniors last year, and they lost some pretty big events in their senior year of high school: proms, graduations, sports, honors banquets, speech competitions, musicals, plays, things like that. So we really wanted to give these new students a nice welcome to the university, and we think we have. So, and they're very excited. They're very proud to be new Pitt students, and we just want to welcome them. And we want to welcome all of our students back to the campus. We all left in a real hurry in March, so it wasn't the way any of us wanted to end this academic year 2020, but it's what happened, and we rebounded, and we're coming back this year with some new formats, some new learning systems, but we're resilient, and we're going to press on and keep educating some really, really quality students. I'm not going to speak much longer. I'm here just to say hello to everyone and welcome everyone to the University of Pittsburgh at Johnstown from the Student Affairs Division. At this time, I would like to turn it over to my friend and colleague, Dr. Janet Grady, Vice President of Academic Affairs. Unmute yourself, Janet.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. My name is Dr. Grady. As Chris said, I'm Vice President for Academic Affairs here at Pitt Johnstown. And this is different. This is very different. But nevertheless, it's sincere, and we're happy. And I want to welcome all new students and families and friends and anyone else who's watching us on glasses. After all the preparation and planning and packing for some of you, this special day is finally here. And I think I speak for a lot of people when I say we couldn't be more proud or more happy that you've chosen to begin your academic journey at Pitt Johnstown. You might have heard me say this before, maybe during academic planning days, but I'm going to state it again. The day you graduate from Pitt Johnstown and join our 22,000 alumni worldwide might seem like sometime in the distant future, but I guarantee that it'll move along much faster than you might think right now. That's why it's so important to take every advantage of what the next 4 years at Pitt Johnstown has to offer. You're going to meet incredible faculty and supportive staff and lifelong friends. You'll make connections, social connections, professional connections, and these will be important in your life and in your career. You'll establish yourself in your major area of study. You'll acquire the knowledge and skills and abilities that will position you for success after graduation in the real world. Importantly, you'll learn to appreciate and embrace lifelong learning, a characteristic that will support and nurture you long after you physically leave our campus. I wish I had more time today to explain to you why selecting to begin the rest of your life at Pitt Johnstown is a very wise choice, but I'm certain you'll come to understand this better as time goes on. You know, we can't deny, as Mr. Stump just said, some of the challenges that the COVID-19 pandemic has presented, but the faculty and staff have been working all summer long to ensure that you have the best possible academic experience. At Pitt Johnstown, you may know, I'm sure you know, that our signature learning approach is up close and personal, and that's our teaching and learning environment. this has served us very well over many years. The faculty who teach here and the students who enroll here do so because that's the kind of environment they prefer. And that's what we're committed to providing, even if COVID-19 has forced us to make some modifications for the present time. You've all heard by now, too, that we are not an online school, and we do not intend to offer that kind of experience. However, we're fortunate to have some wonderful technology that will allow learning to occur remotely, if that is your preference. What I mean is that you'll learn from instructors in real time, supported by technology, whether you're in the physical classroom or in a remote location. Faculty will be available to you during office hours, as was always the case, and you'll be able to connect with your advisor in a variety of ways. Assisted by technology, you'll be able to participate in many of the clubs and group activities that are an important part of your overall college experience. And last but not least, all of us will be here to assist you along the way. Some of those who are here to assist you are in the webinar today, and I'd like to introduce them to you. They're the division chairs, and these people will be excellent resources for you. And there's more resources than this, but they are the division chairs. So I wanted you to see their faces. You have probably met most of them during the academic planning days or at other opportunities you may have had to connect with them. But I would like to ask that each of them at least give you a high five or a wave so that you can see them. And they are from the Division of Engineering and Computer Science, Dr. Jerry Samples. From the Division of Natural Sciences, Dr. Steve Stern. From Humanities, Dr. Michael Stoneham. From the Division of Education, Dr. Jerry Zahorchak. And Chair of the Division of Social Sciences, as well as Chair of the Division of Business and Enterprise, is Dr. Ray Rabley. You will get to see more of them, as well as the department chairs who lead all the departments underneath the divisions. Also on our webinar today is Dr. Steve Kilpatrick. Dr. Kilpatrick is the Assistant Vice President for Academic Affairs. He too will be an excellent resource for you to help you through a variety of situations. He's also the person who manages our overall program and academic integrity, and you will be hearing more from him at a later point on all of that. I don't believe Dr. Kinsinger is on our call today, but she is the director of our Academic Success Center, where we have such wonderful resources, tutoring resources, all types of resources to help you be successful. I said a few minutes ago that I don't have enough time today to tell you all of the awesome things about Pitt Johnstown that I normally could, but we have a pretty neat way of describing our campus that I think captures it best. We talk about 3 P's. That's the letter P: our people, our programs, and our place. My own opinion, and I'm fairly certain it's the opinion of a lot of people, is that we have about the best people that you could ask for. We have faculty who are experts in their content area, they're scholars in their field, but their main goal is to really guide you through the learning process. Understand, please, they can't do the learning for you. You're responsible for that. But they will provide you with the information and the guidance and the support and the inspiration to achieve your learning goals. Remember that I said you're in charge of that, your learning. You're in charge of that. Nobody can force you to learn or to be successful. But if you want that, and if you're willing to work for it, the faculty and staff are here to see that you succeed. We have over 70 majors. We have a lot of minors, a lot of certifications and certificates. So I am sure that you will find something you love and something that fits your own individual skill set and your interests. I could go on a long time about the success of our students and all of our academic programs, from our engineers who have had remarkable impact in so many engineering companies, regionally and beyond, to our nurses who are already sitting in high-level patient care and management positions in a number of states, to our biologists and chemists who have earned admission to graduate health professions programs, and there's so many, our writers, our teachers, our computer scientists, our digital historians who have made substantial and lasting contributions to our local communities and the broader society of which they are a part, and you too will be a part of that. You have indeed made a wise decision. Our last P, place, has been somewhat more impacted by the pandemic in that not all of you will be here in person every day to enjoy the natural beauty of our campus and the many amenities that being here provides. I sincerely believe that we will get back to the place we were before, where up close and personal means just that, and where we can enjoy the face-to-face connections that we're having to limit somewhat at the present time. Over the course of your time at Pitt Johnstown, I know you'll understand exactly what I mean about our campus being a special place that you will never forget being a part of. One last thing I'd like to say about our campus is that we strive to be the place that is unparalleled in preparing you for success in the real world. I've said that before, I'll say it many times. Importantly, however, we also strive to be a place where all are welcome and feel included. In my mind, the greatest thing about a university is that it's a place where ideas are shared, where people can come together and express a variety of perspectives, and where that variety of perspectives is appreciated and respected. At Pitt Johnstown, we have faculty from many countries around the world who enrich our community, and we have students from urban and rural areas, both near and far. Here you'll have the opportunity to share perspectives with people whose background may be different from yours, even if they live in a place geographically close to you. That's the beauty and the value of the university. Sharing and growing, perhaps not always agreeing, but always respecting and appreciating our mutual admission, our mutual mission to learn and grow and to play an important role in making everyone's life better. Thank you once again for being here, for listening to my remarks. I look forward to future meetings where we can see each other without the assistance of our marvelous technology. So once again, welcome to Pitt Johnstown. Best wishes for an amazing journey. And now, you are going to meet, I told you we have wonderful students. One of our wonderful students is Tessa Fry. Tessa is the president of our Student Government Association. And this is an amazing group of students who are leaders on our campus. And I hope that many of you will take the opportunity to take advantage of being part of our student government. So I'm going at this point now to turn the program over to Tessa Fry.
Thank you, Dr. Grady. Welcome back and welcome to Pitt Johnstown Mountain Cats. What a great thing to finally be able to say. Before I get started, I wanted to personally thank all those involved in making that statement possible. From Dr. Spector and his cabinet, facilities, university police, Chartwells, Heather Hall, and to our professors who never thought that they would be teaching in such a technologically advanced world, thank you. Thank you for handling and fielding all of our questions and concerns over the past few months and devising a plan to safely bring us home. I know it was a very hectic time, but I know many, like myself, are glad to be welcomed back to our home, to our people, to our Mountain Cat community. Humbled and honored to be your 2020-2021 Student Government President, I also wanted to thank those who have impacted my time here and driven me to become your student leader this school year. Whether we've been on a team together, I've cheered your team on, shared a late night talk, or even a sheets run, numerous classes, group projects, laughs, or built or danced on our PPAC stage together, adventures on campus, or meals in the caf. I will forever be grateful for the opportunity to have made all of these memories with you. My Vice President Drew Hurd and I promised you what now seems like ages ago that we'd be committed to representing you. Although many things have changed over these past few months, that statement is still to be held true. Hurd, my incoming e-board, and your elected Senate are still here, through all, to help ensure your experience here on campus, at home, or wherever your classroom may be is worthwhile. Meetings will still be held each week, so do not be afraid to reach out to myself, Drew, or any senator this school year to express your thoughts and have your opinion represented. The Student Government Association is here for you, whether you be tuning in today from Hemlock Hall, Woodland 6, your family living room, or anywhere across the United States and at the world at that matter. You're a part of the Mountain Cat family, and we are very proud to be representing you. Now, like I said, as I am committed to representing you, you all should be committed to ensuring safety to all this school year. We're in a sense back together. However, we must remain diligent in our sanitizing, social distancing, and proper wear of PPE this term. I was in a sense raised to be able to have fun in a bucket. I would love to say that's exactly what I wish to do this semester. However, to say we as a whole are limited to a bucket is indeed wrong. If we have learned anything over these past couple months, it is that life is short. We should be grateful for what you have, and that we as members of the Pitt community will prevail and forge ahead. I know, as well as all of you, that this isn't the campus we left back in March. Many things will not be the same, but if we wish to one day return to that state of campus life, we must take precautions now, listen to the regulations implemented, and have faith in those in charge. Many of us growing up in the era and area of Mr. Rogers, he infamously once stated that we live in a world in which we need to share responsibility. This, I believe, describes accurately how we must proceed about our lives these next few weeks. Now, as for that bucket, Rogers is a man who is never limited to what he may do in his life. And as Mountain Cats, we are neither. I ask for all of you to respect each other and the campus regulations, but to still be a college kid. Go out, attend activities, and embrace our campus and what it has to offer. Life is what you make of it, and this term very well may be the most unforgettable one yet. Mountain Cat Strong, a term new to some but breathed by others, embodies who we all are. Faculty, staff, family, and friends. Students, we've all been through a lot together. Class of 2024, we know as all, like your final chapters of high school, things were anything but ordinary. However, who would want to live an ordinary life? I, along with your new peers, want to officially welcome you into our Mountain Cat family, another thing we will forge through together. College, like today's world, can be scary. However, this fight you will not do alone. My advice to you is to get involved on campus and jump outside of your comfort zone. Growing up a small, shy girl from Arma, Pennsylvania, I could have never imagined speaking to you all today. But one small step outside of my comfort zone has brought me to be the person I am today. Whether you join Concrete Canoe, Dance Ensemble, Tennis Club, become a tutor, raise your hand in class, organize a march, or simply say hello to the people in your hall. Life pushes you in directions, and you'll never know where you'll end up without that first step. Understandably, we all are here to get an education and earn a degree. Nonetheless, that isn't the only thing we should leave this campus with. This year alone has already been historic, but don't stop now. Leave your mark on the world. Although our masks may be on, our eyes should be open to the very diverse world that lies ahead of us. Many of you may choose to have come here for the Pitt name. I chose to attend Pitt Johnstown because it felt like home. This university and its welcoming atmosphere and beautiful scenery should feel like home to you. Your years here will fly by in the blink of an eye. Friendships will be made to last a lifetime, along with memories and accomplishments, all topped with an experience like no other. Treat this place and this life and these people like family. And remember, to prevail, remain strong, and welcome home, Mountain Cats. Without further ado, speaking next, I am more than Mountain Cat proud to announce and present President Dr. Spector. Thank you.
Thank you, President Fry, and welcome, class of 2024. That has a nice ring to it, class of 2024. Now, typically, we would meet in the same room, in the same place, and by now, the faculty, the staff, the RAs, we would have run into each other and hugged each other and spent a lot of time face to face. But that is not the case. So there's a little bit of sadness in my heart, but it's just a little bit, because ultimately, even with these challenges, the adventure that is a college education, the uplifting experience that is learning, the privilege of being in a university with faculty and students that are seeking knowledge, building a community, looking to the future, those things keep me optimistic. They keep me believing that this will pass. So I want to welcome you. And I want to thank the faculty the staff, the RAs, the division chairs, the folks who've been advising you, helping you transition. I apologize that many of us could not be around to help the moving process like we normally do as part of our up-close personal campus. Because, as you all know, and I do not need to repeat, we are in unusual times. We are in unusual times as a nation, as a community, and worldwide. But even in these unusual times, and especially in these unusual times, the mission, the purpose, the values of a university are even more critical. We pride ourselves and we work really hard. The faculty do their talents Dr. Grady spoke of, the staff dedication, and the students that you heard about from President Fry. We work really hard as a community to be the educational leader, the regional leader educating for success in the real world. And when we talk about educating for success in the real world, it means that our education is purposeful. It's education with a purpose. We are constantly asking ourselves, your faculty will challenge you constantly, regularly. And when I run into you, I'll ask you this. You should know that, where's this going? What is the purpose? How are you preparing for success? What are the ingredients? What are the skills, the habits, the dispositions that you are building? How does your major connect to the big questions that we're facing in our world? How does your preparation in your discipline, how does it connect to other disciplines, such that when you come out from this education, you will be well-grounded in the liberal arts and sciences, but you would have as well skills and habits and dispositions that prepare you for effective and successful citizenship. So that purposeful education, the concept of a purposeful education, is fundamentally at the heart of what we do. And it's even more relevant today than any time that I can think of, because we live in very challenging times. On top of everything else that one has to deal with day to day as a student, as a citizen, as a member of a community, now we have to think about these existential threats, right? Safety, health, all the time. So we've got the global pandemic. It's also been a turbulent summer, past few months in our society, with turbulence over issues of social justice and systemic racism. The challenges in the economy and rising poverty. So a purposeful education, an education that prepares you for the real world, has to be an education that is relevant to the big questions, the big challenges of our time, the challenges that go to health, human security, go to justice, that go to education, peace, economic growth, justice. But in some ways, class of 2024, in some ways, while the times seem more challenging, and they are, and they really are, you are not the first generation to face big challenges during your college years. Not so long ago, well, it might seem long to you, but not so long ago, and if you go back to the 60s, there were students who were worried about being drafted to go to Vietnam. during their college years. That too was a life and death question. Many of our fellow citizens, many young men and women at that time, answered their nation's call and put themselves on the line for the principles and the values that their leaders had staked. So it is not unusual that college years are disrupted. In fact, during World War II, one of our own students actually had to stop classes, he and his fellow, several of them, when they were deployed. So the turbulence of the times that we are experiencing now, that you are experiencing, there is challenges. It feels, why us? Like that feeling like, how come I can't just enjoy my college years? Why me? Why now? But here's the thing, every generation faces a test. Every generation faces a test. Different, some of them multiple tests. Sometimes you're done with one, then the next one comes along. So that in and of itself is not too unusual. Now I know putting on the mask, you say, well, it's a bit of an inconvenience. Yes, it is. But think about those students who had to answer the call, their nation's call to service, where they put their lives on the line. They had to leave home. Many were just, 18, 19, like most of you, 20, going halfway around the world. Now, why am I telling you this? Because I want you to know, and I want you to think about that as each generation is tested, and the test could be war, it could be pandemic, it could be just a lot of change and transformation. As each generation is tested, no one gets to choose the test, just like you don't choose the exam, right? Your professors, after they've given you high quality instruction, like we pride ourselves, regardless of format, your professors will say, now here's your test. In some ways, one way to think about all of this, to think about what's happening, it's just, this is another test. This is the test of your generation, of Gen Z. And when you think about it in those terms, you recognize that, one, like every generation before you, you're going to have to rise to the moment. Like every generation before you, yes, it's going to be challenging, but you will rise to the moment. And more importantly, you're going to meet and exceed expectations. That is what I believe. I am highly confident about you members of Gen Z. This generation has been tested. And it's this, again, the pandemic is new, but it's not the first one. Ever since you were born, for most of you, the country has been at war, right? We've had the global war on terror. That has lasted since 2001, which would mean that every single one of you has never known a time, not everyone, but perhaps the vast majority, you've never known a time where the nation was not at war, right? The last 2 decades of the war, the global war on terror. Every time you have gone to an airport, you've not looked at flying as just another relaxing activity, flying the friendly skies. You have to take off your shoes, you have to take off this, you have to go through that process. Again, reminding you of the world we live in and the threats that we face. For many of you, you attended school, you were in elementary school when maybe Columbine or some other school shooting happened. and there have been far too many. So you have the habit, unfortunate habit, of going to school and worrying about being shot, preparing to duck under your desk, thinking about existential questions. So in that context, actually, your generation perhaps may be the most tested of generations. You got constant war, pandemic, school violence, systemic racism, turbulence, economic uncertainty. So what's the upside, you wonder? There is an upside in some ways. In many ways, actually, there is another side to this. There is another side. The Chinese letter for crisis. So when the Chinese, they write, Chinese lettering, the letter for crisis and opportunity are the same, pretty much. So the lettering for crisis and opportunity, sort of the flip side of being in a terrible crisis. The flip side of that is that you actually are now in a great opportunity. Now, I wish I could see all your faces and you're all going, now, how is that? How is he going to make some opportunity out of this? How's that going to work out? What's the opportunity? What's the upside? You wonder. And you're right in wondering, but think about it. The World War II generation is called the greatest generation. Well, why? Because to that point in US history, about 200 years into our history, they faced an existential threat of totalitarian Nazism, threatening the planet, threatening world order. And that generation answered the call. And when they did so with flying colors. They liberated the world. Think about it. Students like you, starting class sometime in the late 1930s, early 1940s, one day, many students like you across the country, one day they got the call. You have to head to Europe, to Normandy, to D-Day, to rescue civilization. And they answered the call. Then they came back. They built a great industrial power and a great military power. And the 20th century became the American century, with great inventions in science and technology that changed the world, lifted millions of people out of poverty, created opportunity for tens of millions of people around the world. And so they earned the title, the greatest generation. They had a massive test, a big test, the kind of test that they all said, how are we going to pass this one? We are just college students. But they did. The world we live in, the institutions we enjoy around, the global economy, the greatest generation had a hand. And so this is your time. You face a great test. And I am confident, highly confident, that you will answer the call, not because I am idealistic or just want to say that to butter you up, but because I have seen what Generation Z is already doing. We have seen you leading. We've seen you leading in entrepreneurship. You're inventing things, creating solutions. We have a great entrepreneurship program. So if you're thinking, I want to invent something, well, think about all the stories, at least I've heard, of young people, Gen Z members, deciding to build PPE, to make masks, to come up with solutions to the pandemic, ways to help first responders, apps that can solve all kinds of problems, apps that I don't even understand, but they're being done by young people. You're running for office. Very young people, millennials, are running for office saying, we want to be part of the solution. We are not going to stand on the sidelines. We are going to be part of the solution. I see that. During the racial turbulence of the summer, that's still going on. Questions of justice rose to the fore. Everybody started thinking about all these issues, the health disparities, the injustices in the criminal justice system, the disparities in education. But guess what happened again? When you looked at the folks who were marching, you saw members of Gen Z at the front. Some of you were taking your parents. And we all said, wait a minute. Something could actually change this time. Across the country, I see these young faces, young people with their energy, wanting to change the world. When the whole world came together to talk about global warming and to find solutions, it was because a 16-year-old named Greta Thunberg, a 16-year-old, just like, younger than most of you, decided she had had enough. And she rallied the world leaders, came together in the United Nations to say, we got to do something. It's their lives that, they have their lives at stake, right? If the seas are going to rise in 40, 50 years and the coasts will be flooded, it's their lives. The leaders said, we have to do something. When gun violence took so many innocent lives in Parkland, Florida, again, your generation decided, we have had enough. We have had enough. There's got to be some reasonable regulations, some reasonable measures that protect constitutional rights, yet stop the madness of gun violence. So you think about the issues. Systemic racism, you showed up. Global warming, your generation showed up. Gun violence, your generation showed up. Class of 2024, that is why, despite the heavy heart that I mentioned at the beginning, despite the turbulence that I sense in the environment, the anxiety, and yes, there is anxiety, I feel anxious. There is stress, yes, I feel the stress too. I have cried this summer because of the turbulence of the injustices of systemic racism. But crying or wringing your hands or, it's not good enough. What I have learned from this generation, from you, is that you have that energy. You have hope. You are looking to take your skills, your talents that you would acquire from your education to solve problems, to make this world better, to fulfill that purposeful education, to ensure that the purposeful education that we are talking about, the purposeful education, it means something. So as hope dries up, for some of us, especially the older generation, you rush in to replenish us. And there is hope that because the world is this way, it doesn't have to be that way. Because we were not prepared as a nation for this pandemic, and we have lost 170,000 lives, this is not the last pandemic. Your generation will ensure that we are prepared for the next one. I am confident of that. When cynicism, and sometimes as you get older, like, let's speak for myself, you say, well, that's the way of the world. Nothing is really going to change because, we've tried to change it and it doesn't change. And there's just too many entrenched powers and, too many interests, and it's too baked in. It's structural. When you hear professors say it's structural, anything, they say it's very baked in. But your generation, you believe that things can change, that structures can be rebuilt, redesigned, that it's not set in stone. Nothing about the future is set in stone. Once again, you bring hope and you remind us that yes, it looks bleak now, Lives have been lost, but the next pandemic, we're going to be prepared. It looks bleak now. There are all these injustices, but there is a way to rebuild, to build a more perfect union, a more perfect union, that phrase. To build a more perfect union. You say, it's a work in progress. We've got work to do. That's why we are getting a great education. You're going to have great faculty in social sciences like Dr. Radley and Dr. Cook, who would inspire you. You're going to have faculty in nursing like Dr. Grady and Dr. Kantracha, who will prepare you to deal with the next pandemic. You're going to have faculty like Dr. Samples and his colleagues, who will give you the tools as engineers to build that future society. So I am hopeful. I am hopeful. I am hopeful in you. I believe in you. I believe in my heart that this will pass. And you, your generation, will make it better. Yes, you will make it better. So I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. You give me hope. It's a time where there's a lot of fear. It's a time where there's a lot of stress. But I do not want you to forget this. That with all of this crisis and challenges and torment and travails comes opportunity. You will meet the test because the future seeks direction. The future is not set in stone. And there are people who know a lot more physics than I do that will tell you that it all can be shaped by actions. It's not set in stone. The future is looking for leadership. It's looking for people who want to lead and be good followers and who will collaborate, but who will not obstruct the path for change and to the path towards solutions. The future is looking for leadership. It seeks direction. The future is calling. Every generation is tested. The call goes out to every generation. The call has gone out to you, and we welcome you in Pitt, Johnstown with joy and excitement and passion and enthusiasm, because fundamentally, we believe in you, and we believe that the future is in great hands because people like you who joined us in this purposeful education are looking to go solve problems, as we say. Embrace and enjoy our world. Make a difference. Embrace and enjoy our world. We've got to do so with extra measures of safety, thinking about respect for one another and responsibility. But those values in and of themselves are what we need to build a strong civil society. So you're being tested. Make use of the test. Get prepared. Get ready. Get ready for the real world, as we say. Welcome to Pitt, Johnstown. I look forward to seeing you on campus, not as up close and personal as I personally like, because I shake hands and hug you, but unfortunately, we're going to have to wait for that. Welcome to Pitt, Johnstown. And I look forward to seeing you all at graduation, class of 2024. Thank you. And thank the families who chose us and entrusted your loved ones at this institution. And thank you all for choosing this institution. And we look forward to serving you with the best of our capacities in these challenging times to make sure that we are all as safe and we can all